All right, time for key number 4. These LLMs have 10x coding capabilities. Now, why is that the case? Well, it turns out that code is structured text. And it turns out there are many, many examples of code on the internet. Remember, the internet is the training database for many of these LLMs. So if you take code being structured text plus many, many examples, you end up with these 10x coding capabilities. Let's look at a couple of examples. Now, I had the opportunity to run a workshop at the recent Triangle AI Summit, and I wanted to understand the participants who registered for that workshop. Where are they from? What is their stage? What is their familiarity with AI, and so on? So they had a survey that we asked them when they registered to just tell us a little bit about them. And so I took the output of that survey, in this case an Excel file or CSV file, and I dropped it into ChatGPT, and I simply said, analyze this data set. So what's it going to do? Well, the first thing it's going to do is going to import this data set, and then it's going to look at what are some of the column names, the rows, how many. Sometimes we call this exploratory data analysis, but it's essentially going to look at the data to try to understand the types of information in that data set. Well, how is this working? Is it actually looking at the data? Is it actually importing it? Well, not totally. When it comes up with the summary information, it says here's a summary of its structure, columns and rows, and asking what I would like to do. Under the hood, it is writing code to do these things. See, these models, again, are just taking text as an input and providing text as an output. In the last key, we talked about these multi-step capabilities. Well, these 10x coding capabilities are closely related to this multi-step. See, what's happening is when I give the LLM a CSV file, it's going to then say, this looks like a CSV file. That means I'm going to need to write code. So let me write the code to import this file. So it writes that code, it imports the file, it then can take the output of that code when it runs it, and it then gives that as context to the LLM. So this is a little bit of tool calling, a little bit of this multi-step, but essentially it's writing the code to run the code to help answer your question. Now, it says, what would you like to do? Do you want a summary analysis? Do you want some insights? And so I basically said, create a comprehensive summary so I could understand the participants in the room for an upcoming workshop on AI. Pretty open-ended, intentionally. What it did then was come up with an exploratory data analysis summary of the participant overview and the roles and the institutions that they're represented from, and so on and so forth. We can then look at the code underlying this. So this is the Python code here that the LLM wrote in order to perform that exploratory data analysis. So the LLM is not knowing what's in here. The LLM is not running any calculations. The LLM is taking text as input and determining what text is best output. In this case, the best text to be outputted is code. It then runs that code. It has an interpreter environment that it has access to run that code, take the output of that, and provide that as context to the LLM to answer your question. Now, we can do some additional things. We could say, make some visuals. So here are some participant roles, staff, faculty, graduate, professional students, and so on. We could say, give me the top institutions represented or the top schools. So the key idea here for number 4 is that LLMs are great at writing code because code is structured text, and there are several examples in the model. Now, when we ask the LLM for create a file that allows us to download this summary, or when we say, here is the schedule of events for the summer, create a calendar file that I can download to add these 12 events to my personal calendar. What the LLM is going to do is it's going to take the text, it's going to write the code, and then run that code to create that file to allow you to download it. When you ask an LLM, create a PowerPoint file of this information, it's not creating a PowerPoint file. It's taking your information, it is writing code, it's running that code, and allows you to download that file. This is true for many media and creative tasks. If I say create an icon, it's going to not create an icon, it's going to write the code. The code then creates the icon that you then get to download. See, several of these tools that you are then interacting with is an LLM writing code that enables you to interact with these downloadable outputs. So this is key number 4. These LLMs have 10x coding capabilities.